This conference
Okay.
will now be recorded.
So we have created one particular volume, and we are trying to create two pods. These two pods want to use the same directory, same volume, whatever it is. Okay. So these two containers are trying to use the same shared storage. So what is the advantage of using it? We have seen in practical. Okay. What is that? I have created a directory here and I have added some stuff in the index.html, some particular content. So immediately this particular file is mounted to this particular mtdr volume. Okay. So once it is mounted here, in the sense this file is available here, immediately this particular file can also be used by this particular container, nginx-container. So see, this container has not created at all this index.html. This container has created it, but it is available to your nginx-container because it is a shared volume. Okay, since it is mounted here, it can also be mounted to this particular container. Okay, if you don't want to use it, what will you do? You will not mount it. You will not use a volume concept here if you don't want to mount it. Okay, but we are using a volume, same volume we are specifying, saying that both want to use the same storage, same volume. So everybody will have the same index.html. Okay, so that's the reason when I accessed curl, when I gave a port number, when I gave IP address, immediately it will take 80 port number. So obviously 80 port number will be exposed by this particular container. So immediately it gave me the web page of, where is it? Yeah, hello from Debian container. So actually this hello from Debian container is written here, but it is available to this container because of this volume concept, shared storage. Okay. So this is the experiment we have seen, and this is how we need to write your YAML file for it. Okay, where is that? Okay, so this volume you can see here. This volume is for this Nginx container. This volume is for Debian container, and he is trying to add some particular stuff. Okay, your shared volume is this one. This is a volume which we are trying to create. See, all these volumes are using the same name: shared data, shared data, shared data, because these two containers want to use the same volume. So obviously we need to mention with the same name. If not, it doesn't identify it. It will fail with some error. Okay. So this is how. I hope this is clear. So let's go to the next level. So let us do some resource test. Yesterday we have assigned some resource. Let us try to give some particular stress to our pod, saying that it will try to use more RAM than the limit that is set to. Okay, so I have created a pod, I have created a container in the pod with some particular limit saying that you need to use only this much amount of memory. If it is crossing more than that in middle of something, like after creating the container and all, what will happen? Let us see that. Okay. Yeah, so let's try to create. Okay, so here he is using some namespace. I will remove it. So here we are trying to, this things you know already until here. The argument what you are trying, this is a command called stress. For this command we are passing these options. This is one of the command we have in order to pass some stress, like some memory usage. So what is your limit of memory that you need to request to your container? That is 50, but you have a maximum limit of 100 MB which you can use. But we are trying to pass some stress of memory usage more than 100 to 50 MB. So what will happen after the container is reaching more than the limit? It requires more than the limit. What will happen to the container? Will it stop or will it throw an error? What it will try to do? So let us see that. Previous I got this error because I don't have any namespace like mem hyphen example. So I've removed it. Okay. It will take some time. Let's wait for it. You can see out of memory killed. Why? Because it is trying to create more than the memory. Okay, so that's the reason it got failed. If you see, look at describe kubectl describe pod. You can see. Where is it? Yeah. Back off in this is back off restarting field container. Okay, so why it is restarted? Because back off restarting field container, because it is trying to use more than the limit of the memory. Okay, memory is set to use only 100 MB maximum, but it is trying to use, because of some particular application, it is trying to use more than 100 MB. For that reason it is failed with out of memory killed. So that's the reason it is running out of memory. So that's the reason it is terminated. Okay. So this is a one of the experiment which we can use. See, you can see the crash loop back. It will try to restart for it will try the iteration of trying, right? It will try for multiple times. At last, it will give some fixed error. Okay. So it is keep on trying whether it can do it in the second iteration or not. Second time it can be successful or not. Third time it can be successful or not. Fourth time it can be successful or not. If 4 to 5 times it is getting failed, then it will stop trying it. So the maximum is 4 times it will try. Okay. You can increase that particular limit also. Okay, iterations. But as of now, by default, it is 4. Just a second. Hello. చెప్పండి. సార్ ఒక్క నిమిషం నేను చెప్తాను ఒక 10 minutes లో. ఓకేనా? ఓకే. So we are trying to see the details. So you see again it is trying to pull the image. So it's running out of memory. So that's the reason reason is like you can see the exit code. Exit code is 1. Okay, restart count is now it's 4. Okay. So this is how when you give the stress like when you give your container and it is using more than limit, it will fail with an error code saying that out of memory. OOM. Okay, out of memory. That will be error when we use more than the limit which we have set for the memory, not for CPU or something. Okay, so that is what we have found. Now the next experiment is nothing but yesterday someone has asked like, I want to launch a pod on a specific node. Okay, it's not like Cube scheduler has to take a decision. I want to take my own decision saying that this particular pod should be running on a specific node. Okay, so what will you do for that? First of all, we need to assign labels to our node. Okay, so labels are like how you can identify the labels is kubectl get nodes hyphen show hyphen labels. So these are the predefined variables labels which are already available for this particular node. Okay, so these are like predefined variables. I have not done anything, right? It is automatically set. Okay, so these are like predefined variables. Now if you want to set your own additional labels like user defined variables, then we need to execute this particular command. Okay, the command is simple: kubectl label. Okay, if you don't know the things, just give help. You can see some examples here. For pod you can set some labels. Okay, for node you can set some labels. Okay, everything you can do. Okay, so whatever you want. Okay, so there is example for node. They have not shown you for okay nodes. Okay, and then we need to give the key and a value. Let's say disk type is equal to SSD hard disk. Let's say I'm naming this particular provider with the label selected. Oh shit. I need to give the node name for which node you want to allocate. Let's say it's cube minion 1. For cube minion 1, I want to assign a label saying that disk type is should be SSD. Okay. So this is the label which I'm set. So let's see the labels over here. You can see the additional label for this particular cube minion 1. Where is it? Yeah. Disk SSD. So this is called as key. Left hand side of equal to is called as key. Right hand side is called as SSD is called as value. This is key and this is value. Okay. So this is what I have set a label to my node. So let's try to do one experiment, like I will try to launch a pod on that particular node. So it will launch only on that particular node, not on any other node. Okay. Let's see. Um, Here you can see node selector. S is capital letter, and you are trying to give this is the key and this is the value. Okay. So now UCTL apply hyphen F is getting created. Let's see. You can see this particular node. See node labels. It is launched on which node? Cube Minion 1. See, other pods are getting launched on a different node. Now this pod has been launched on Cube Minion 1. You can see the IP address also. So that is the advantage of using labels. You can set n number of labels. It's not like you need to give only this particular label. You can give n number of labels. Okay, it is up to you. See, one node can have multiple labels, right? It's not like you need to have only one particular label. Okay, so that's the reason, right? You can see it is working fine. So that's the reason. I'll show you. So that's the reason this particular node is having already with multiple labels. You can see with a comma separated value. Okay, architectures MMD64, OS is Linux. Okay, disk type is equal to SSD, and host name is equal to kubeminion1. And this is also having this, except this disk type is equal to SSD. I gave that particular name. If you want, you can give your own specific name to that particular label. Okay, so that is all about your assigning labels to your node. But first remember, you need to assign some label. Okay, if you want your own labels, then you need to assign some label to that particular node, and then you need to specify the label parameters in the YAML file. That is how you need to understand the assigning the labels. It's not like directly you can go to the YAML file and add some particular random values and all. No. First of all, you need to assign the label to your node, and then you need to launch the pod on that particular node and see whether it is launching on that particular node or not. Now, Cube Scheduler will not come into picture. Cube Scheduler will know the information saying that this pod should be running on that particular node because you have specified node selector. Scheduler will not come into picture. So automatically this particular pod will launch on that particular node. Is that clear? This is what you are looking for, right? I think someone has asked. Who is that? Prakash or Suresh? I don't know exactly who asked it. Okay. So that is all about your. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay, fine.
Yeah, this is what you're looking for, right? So you
Yes,
want to launch a pod on a specific node. Okay.
yes, correct.
Yeah, this will be useful in real time. So real time, what they will do now, they want a specific nodes to be running on a specific pod to a specific node because that node will be having high RAM, high amount of resources and all. So that's the reason they want this particular application to be running on that particular node. In that scenario, you need to use this experiment. Okay. Yeah. So let's go to the next level. Now, let's say there is a situation that I want to launch a pod. In that, I want to launch two containers. Okay, remember carefully. Like, I want to launch a pod. In that pod, I want to launch two containers. I want to create two containers. One container need to be do some experiments. Once it is done, it should be terminated. That particular job is done. Okay, let's remember this. Like, try to understand this particular concept. Let's say in a pod, I want to launch two containers. One containers first this container should be created, and it should do some particular experiments or whatever it is, whatever you specify. Okay, once that particular task is done, it should be terminated. That particular job is done, and then the next container should use this particular stuff which the first container has created for your requirement. Okay, so that creation to launch a specific container first in a pod, that particular concept is called as init container. Init container in the sense the containers which you mention under init container, that container will be launched first, not any other container. So init container in the sense the container which is mentioned under that particular pod, okay, that particular container will be launched first. So let's see this particular YAML file. In this YAML file, we are trying to create two containers. One is Nginx container and one is busybox container. It is named as install, but the image is busybox, and here the image which is using is Nginx. Which container will be launched first? This init container will be launched first. You can see init containers. Here it is just containers. Okay. So this container will be launched after this. Okay. So what this container is doing first? So once the particular container is created, it is trying to download the index.html from this particular website, that is kubernetes.io. Index.html, it is downloading, and it is saving under this particular directory. What is that directory? Slash work hyphen -dir, and it is creating a file called index.html, and it will save that particular content. Once it is saved, okay, it is mounted to this particular directory volume. Okay, so this volume is mounted to which particular shared volume? That is work.dir, that is empty.dir. So this particular container directory is mounted to this particular volume. Since it is mounted to this, once this particular container is created and this particular stuff is done, it will terminate, it will delete it. Okay, after that, your data index.html is present in this particular directory, right, in this volume. So immediately this volume can be used by this container, because while creating this container, it will search for this particular volume. So this volume is already shared here. So your index.html will be copied to this particular directory, under this directory. Okay, so let's see that. This concept is called as init container. Init container in the sense, whatever the container details you specify under that, it will be launched first and it will terminate once that particular job is done successfully. Okay, so I'm writing YAML files in such a way that we can identify. Okay, I don't want to modify anything. Save kubectl apply hyphen vf. So you can see, right, the status is init. How many init containers we have? Only one. it is not yet created. Once it is created, you can see here how many containers you are able to see. Only one, because the other container is like, it is not a normal container, it is an init container. So that's the reason the init container is getting created first. 0/1 in the sense one should be created, but still it is not yet created. See, running in the sense init container is done, it is successful, it is terminated, and your main container has been created successfully. Now if I use curl, what is the IP address? Let us see. So this is the IP address. Okay. Curl, if I give this, I need to get Kubernetes website page, index.html. You can see. This is what we have downloaded. Okay. Where is it? Yeah. So this is Kubernetes page actually. Okay. If you want, you can use like this. If you want to see whether it is successful or not. 200, okay. Okay. So this is how we need to create. If you go to the description, you can see the actual things. You can see here. Where is it? Init container. Yeah. You can see this init container. This container, what is the status? Let us check. Yeah, state is terminated. Why it is terminated? The reason is it is completed successfully. Since this particular container job is done, it is terminated. Okay. So once this particular stuff is done, your actual container has been created. Okay. So this is what happened here. Okay. So that is the advantage of using init container. Okay. It is most used. So these things we'll use in the real time. You need to understand the requirement. See, you need to understand the application deployment, and then you need to create the objects according to your requirement. Okay. In pod I have shown you all the different stuffs which are available. Okay. If you want to see the init container details, then you can give this template output and all. This init. So this is like, it is getting the details of that particular pod. Okay. So this is what we have, and there is a sidecar. So this will be the status init containers. N/m in the sense, n is the number of init containers it has, and m has been completed so far. Okay, m is the total number of containers it is getting created. You can see here which I gave. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah. You can see here it is showing 0/1 in the sense 1 is nothing but m value, and this is called as n value. M in the sense total number of init container it should create. N in the sense how many it has created. Okay, so that is a one status. Init hyphen error in the sense an init container has failed to execute. It has some command, so it got failed. So that's the reason it is called, it will show the status as error. Okay. And if init container shows as like crash loopback error, the container has failed repeatedly. It tried for multiple times, then it will show you like this crash loopback. Okay. But it will show here for init container. It will show like init colon crash loopback. Okay. And then one is pending. Pending in the sense the pod is not yet begin executing init container. Due to some reasons, your init container itself is not launched for creation. That status is called as pending. Even for normal container also, if it is not yet initiated, that particular status will be shown as pending. Okay. And one more, it is nothing but pod initializing or running. In the sense, your pod is running successfully. Okay. That is how we need to see the status of the init containers. Okay. So this is one of the example we have written. Okay. So this is all about your pods. This is the complete things which we can see in the pods. Okay. So tomorrow we'll come up with a new concept called replication controller. A new concept called replication controller and deployment, both. What is the use case of that? When we need to use deployment and replication controller. See why I told pod about beginning, because even in deployment we use pod, and even in replication set we use pod. From here, for everything is pod is a base layer. Okay, so that's the reason we have started with pod creation. Okay, so we have seen all the different stuffs which we can do with the pod. Okay, so tomorrow we'll see what is deployment and what is replication controller or replication set. There are three concepts: replication set, replication controller, and deployment. Okay, any questions you can ask me, or else we can wind up the class for today, and tomorrow we can log in at 7:30. Any questions from your end? Okay, thank you guys, have a good day.